Hello and welcome back to my channel. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Carly and I run a handmade small business called Handmade. And I've had a couple people ask me how I make my tote bags, so I figured we could make one together. And I'll kind of take you guys through the process of how I make mine. Now everybody can make theirs completely different. I always say there's no right or wrong way to sewing. There may be rules per se, but maybe we break them every now and then and we just find out like what works for us. So maybe what works for somebody else might not work for me. So I've kind of like done my own little spin on these, you know, maybe different from other people. But anyways, so I'm going to take you through how I make my tote bags here, and I'm going to have all of the dimensions and everything down in the description box too for you, so you guys can kind of follow along with me if you'd like. But we're going to start off, we have our two pieces here and I've already put them on the batting, and we're going to do some quilting. And I have my little cheater notes over here on my wall, so if I can see, it's going to be cut down to 17 wide by 12 high, so I went an inch bigger on each side, so it'll be 18 by 13 just for the quilting process, because if you've quilted anything, you know that it kind of shrinks up. So I'm going to work on quilting these, and then we'll move on to the pocket and the straps and the liner and all that. So let's just get started with quilting these pieces. And I just use the regular presser foot that came with my machine. I did buy a quilting, or I guess it's an easy feed foot, that's what it's called for Singer, but the quilting foot. But it doesn't have the spot for my little guide bar to go into, so this does, and it's just got a little hole that I just push it into, and then you can like make your quilting lines like as big or as small as you want. And I just go, I have a screw right here, so I just go on the right side of the screw. That's what I do. I don't know the measurements, but that's the size that I like best for my quilting, at least for the tote bags. For the pencil cases and the keychain wallets, I like them a little bit smaller, so I'll go on the left side of the screw. But yeah, this is the quilting foot that I got from Singer, and it doesn't have like the spot for my guide to, or yeah, I guess that's what they're called, like my seam guide, this thing to go through. So I just use that, and yeah, we are going to just quilt these two pieces. And also another thing, you have to keep in mind which way your bag is going to go. So this, my bag is going to be, when it's done, held up this way, and the handles will be there, the straps. So you don't want to quilt long ways that way, because I mean you could do whatever you want. If you like it that way, go ahead, but I just do the vertical ones. So that's what we're gonna do. One time I'll have to do the crosshatch quilting on these bags and see how it looks. But for right now, we're just gonna do the vertical lines. Okay guys, so we have our two panel pieces here quilted. And again, these are going to be 17 inches wide by 12 inches high. And we're gonna have two of them for the front and the back of the tote. And then my corners here, I boxed them out at 3 inches. So 3 inches going that way, 3 inches down. So that will make the bottom of our bag. And then for our pocket here, these are 9 by 7. And again, all of the measurements will be in the description box for you as well. So what I do with the pocket is I will put them right sides together, and then I will sew it around, all around the sides here, and I'll leave probably like a 3 or 4 inch gap so that way we can turn it inside out or right side out, and then I like to give it a press, and then I'll give it a top stitch on the top, and I'll put my label on there as well. So we've got the label, and then we'll work on the pocket. And then our liner pieces, which again are 17 inches wide, 12 inches high, and then we have 3 inches boxed out on the bottom there. And we need to sew the pocket onto the liner before we sew the liner together. So I'm gonna work on the pocket here, and we'll be right back with that all finished. Okay, so we've got our pocket all finished here with the label on there, and if you can see, I did a nice, just a top stitch on the top. Just, I think it looks, you know, put together and nice. And then we have our opening right at the bottom there. And when I pin it to the liner, what I'm gonna do is that will close up that hole there. So you don't have to worry about that right now. Just when you put it onto the liner like this, and then I'll show you guys a close-up shot too. When you sew around there, it's gonna close that up. So don't do anything with that yet, not until we sew the pocket onto the liner here. So I'm gonna bring you down, that way you can see what I'm doing here. Okay, so now this is our pocket here, and you can probably see the top stitching there, but there's our hole down at the bottom, and I've got my liner piece with the right side facing up. And I just go in between these little corners here. I just kind of measure it with my fingers. It's normally about like 2.5, and I don't want it too high. So we're gonna do it probably, is that even? Yeah, probably right there. And then I'll grab my pins, and I will just go right in here and just pin it to the liner without poking yourself. And I'll flatten it out. Just pin it here. And then I'll pin it on the bottom, just to keep it in place while we sew this to the liner. And then once this is on here, then we can put the 2 liner pieces together, sew them up, and then we'll work on the straps. But I just wanted to show you guys how I do my pockets, and that way you guys can do pockets too. This is the easiest way that I've found making pockets. If anybody has any, you know, other ways, that's perfectly fine. Like I said, I don't think that there are any rules to sewing. You do whatever works for you, and maybe the sewing police will come and get me, but this is just how I like to do them. So I'm gonna sew all the way around this, and this will close up that bottom here. So we'll go up, and then when I get to these top parts here, I like to go back and forth probably like 4 or 5 times, just to reinforce the pocket, make sure it won't come off the liner there. So yeah, I'm gonna sew this up, and then we will pin the 2 liner pieces together. So you guys saw that I have the pocket on the liner there, and I've just pinned my 2 liner pieces together, right sides together. I've got them all pinned, and we're gonna sew all along the sides and the bottom. Don't touch the corners yet, but at the bottom, we're going to leave probably like a 3 or 4 inch gap, so you have enough room to turn the bag right side out when we are ready to do that. So right now I'm just gonna sew up along these sides and the bottom, leave the gap, and we're not gonna touch the corners yet. So, and we've got our pocket on there too. So we're going to sew that, and then we'll be right back. Okay, so we have our straps here, They are 7.5 inches wide, and it's the length of the fabric that we're going to cut down to 24 inches later once these have the Pellon and they're sewn and everything. So just remember that. And again, all of the dimensions and everything will be in the description box below. But what I like to do, I think you guys can see this here. So I'll just fold it or open it up, and this is the wrong side, and I like to fold it in half. And again, I like to put a stabilizer in my straps when I'm making like shoulder bags like this, because it just gives it a little bit more stability. Some people don't put any in their straps, but I feel like it just is a lot better and sturdier, more sturdy when you have like a stabilizer like the Pellon. So that's what I do. Maybe some people use cotton. I've seen that. And maybe some like flex foam or something, but I just use my little Pellon, which we will put inside here in just a second. I just like to make sure I get a nice fold in half here. Let's get that down. Okay. Now that that's folded, and that's why I like having this long ironing board. This thing is like so amazing. It's really changed the game for me because I have my little tabletop one, which, you know, it got the job done, but this one is, having a full ironing board is life-changing. It's the little things in life. It's almost like, you know, when you get a new vacuum or you get a new broom or a mop. Man, I love those things. Or like a new pack of pens. Oh, it's my favorite. Okay, sorry. So now we've got, you know, our crease where we fold it in half, and I'm going to fold it again and then just do a nice press on that. And we'll go all the way down with that. So we've got that one all ironed. Now I'm going to do the same thing on this top one here. So I just fold it in half here. Not in half, but fold it to the center. So then we've kind of got like the two folded pieces going into the middle. And you could really make these straps, you know, how wide or however long you want them. Now on my larger tote bags, because these are just kind of like the mini shoulder totes. On my larger tote bags, I think I do 26 inches, and you could do them whatever you want, whatever your heart desires. I just kind of held the straps up to my body, and whatever I thought looked good, felt good, you know, that's what I went with. Okay, so we're gonna open it up. So we've got it all open here, and you can see all your little 4 pieces there. So then I'm going to grab my piece of Pellon here, and my Pellon is 1.5 inches wide. And again, I just do like the length, however long the piece of Pellon is, that's what I do. So I'm just going to put that, probably put on this side. Doesn't matter what side, just whatever's easier for me to iron. So I'll fold that into there. I'll just make sure it's all pretty much, you know, in there straight. Fold it, and I'll just give it a simple press. Now the adhesive side is on the opposite side, so I'm just kind of trying to keep it in place pretty much. And we'll just go down. This is just a quick press to try and keep it in its spot. Because then what we're gonna do is bring that down. Now it's not attached yet, it's just, I don't know why I do that. It's just another press there. So I will bring this in all the way down, and I'll bring that up, that other piece up, and just fold it the way the strap is going to be. And then I'll press it. It's pretty much to keep the two together. And again, this is just another quick press just to make sure everything is lined up. Now, so you've got all your little pieces folded up. I'll flip it over. Really got to make sure and give it a nice good press. And this little tail part, I don't want to get that on my iron, so that's going to make it icky. So then I'll just go down again. Just make sure it's really going to be on there. Okay, and that is our first strap done. I'm going to work on the other one and then we'll sew these together. All right, so I have our two strips here, which are going to be our straps. And what I like to do is I'm going to pin them just kind of sporadic here, but I put my walking foot on, and I like to use my walking foot because it kind of prevents a little bit of the puckering sometimes that you see on the straps on tote bags. So I do 4 lines total. So I'll do 2 on this side and 2 on this side, just to give it a little more like strength and stability. So I'm going to sew the 2 straps up, and then we will cut them down to our 24 inches, and then we will sew them to our panels here, and then we can start assembling everything together. So I'm going to sew these real quick, and I will see you in a bit. All right, so I have my straps cut down here. These 2 are 24 inches, and then what I have left over, they're 20 inches. So we can use these for like a kid bag or, you know, a smaller tote. I just like to save these. I'm not going to throw them away. So I'll just toss those to the side. So we have our 2 straps here. Okay, we have our 2 outer pieces here. I'm going to put one to the side, and I will just kind of measure off of my cutting mat here. And I'll take one strap, and I'll just, oh, and as you can see, these are my lines here. I've got 4 of them on there, and like there's a little bit of the puckering there, but I think that's just the fabric itself, but not too bad. So I use my walking foot to prevent some of the puckering, or as much of the puckering as I can. So we will attach the straps here, and I'm going to go 2, 3, 4 inches there. And I will pin it, and then we'll go 4 inches here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I like to have a little bit of overhang just to, I think it gives it some stability as well. And then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the middle. Okay. And I like the way that looks. Let me see. Kind of want to go off of these as well. 7 and 18. This one needs to go over just a touch. Okay, and what I'll do is I will stitch across there to attach it to the outer piece, and then we will work on the liners, putting, you know, boxing out the corners with that and all that. Okay, line it up. We'll get our other long one here. And 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you want to make sure you don't have your strap here like all twisted up. You want it to go all the same way, because if it's twisted, it's going to be twisted when you are holding your bag. 7, 18, perfect. So we're going to do a stitch on the top here on both of these, and then we'll move on to the rest of what we need to do, which is boxing out the corners on both the outer pieces and the liner, and then we will assemble it all together. Okay, so we have our straps sewn on to the outer pieces here, and we're going to start piecing it all together. Let's see, so we will start with the outers, put them right sides together, make sure to have the straps out of the way. And we're just going to line up these here. And pin them. All right, and unlike the liner where we left the gap to turn it right side out, on the outer pieces, we're just gonna sew it completely closed, and then we'll work on the corners here. But just make sure again that your straps are out of the way before you sew it and all of that, just so you're not getting like all tangled up in there. All right, so I have all of the sides and edges sewn up, and for my boxed corners here, so we have our cutouts, I'll just put my hand in the bag and just kind of open that up, and we're going to put the seams together here, just flatten it out. And I like to, if it would work with me here, just pin that. I'll put a couple. And then, I don't know if you can see, but you've got this, the bulkiness here and then the seam there. I like them to go in opposite directions. So you can tell the one on the bottom here is going that way, and then I'll put the other one going the other way just to alleviate some of the bulkiness. So just make sure you alternate the seams there, and it will definitely help you out with some of the bulkiness. It won't be like as bulky. And then we'll just sew right across there. So again, we'll have the bottom boxed out corners. You will open it up and pull them together and just line them up. And then the two seams will just go opposite ways. And I'll hold it. And I'll put a pin, not a pin, a clip. And then bring this one up. And clip it, and this one will clip it. And then you'll just sew right across there about 1/4 of an inch, and then to both sides, and then we'll do the same with the liner here. So I just like to put my hand in there, open that up. Might be a little easier to see me explain that here. So you can see both of those seams there. We're going to alternate the directions and just help with the bulkiness there. And we will clip that. And then I'll put a clip on this side and a clip on this side. Then this one here, just open it up, line those up as best you can. And then alternate them in alternating directions. One's going that way, one's gonna go this way. Pin it, clip it, whatever. Clip it again. And then clip this one. And then you'll just do 1/4 of an inch seam on both of those, and then you'll have your boxed corners. Okay, so we now have our liner with our boxed out corners here. See those? And then we've got our little gap there so we can turn it right side out when it is ready. And we have our outer pieces here that are boxed out as well. Completely sewn up, no holes or anything. And you will turn your outer pieces right side out. And I like to just poke out the corners while I can. You've got your straps here. So I'm going to put this outer piece inside of the liner here. And I will put that in there. And you want to make sure on this part that the straps are all inside. You want the straps in the liner part. Make sure that they are in there, because if not, then your straps are not going to be on the outside of the bag. So, and then you're going to, you have this seam here and this seam, you're going to match them up here. And again, like we did before, one is going to go this way and one's going to go that way, seam wise, just to reduce the bulkiness. Take a clip, and we'll clip that. And then I go to the other side here, kind of tuck that in there. And we'll go seam to seam, one going one direction, one going in the other direction. We're going to, oops, clip it. What I like to do is pull it tight, not too tight, but you know, just to get the liner and everything as flat as possible. And I'll kind of just bring it in, and I'm going to just pin it all the way across, because we're going to do a stitch all the way around. Oop, I'm telling you, all I do all day is drop pins. And we'll do it on the other side here. So just bring it in the middle, pin, pin, clip it. So now what I'm going to do, again, make sure the straps are inside the line, between the liner and the outer pieces. And I'm going to just do a stitch all the way across the top, and probably about 1/4 inch seam allowance as well. So I'm gonna do that, and then we're gonna flip it right side out, and then we'll do a top stitch and we're done. So just make sure you've got it all lined up evenly. All of this is evenly lined up, and yeah, we're gonna do a stitch on that. Okay, so I also, it's all sewn together, but I closed up the bottom hole there, the one that I used to turn it right side out. So what I'm going to do is just push the liner into the tote bag here. And if there's any straggler strings, we'll get those in just a minute. And I like to hold on to the corner here, or pretty much start on the side seam, and I will just roll that down and pin it, because we're going to do a top stitch all around the tote bag. So I will just start on the sides, kind of like when we were pinning it together before, and just make sure you get that liner pretty much out of the way, and that way it's not peeking out too much. A little bit is fine. Again, you guys, you can do whatever you want. If you want it to show more, you can do that too. I've seen some people who like the liner, you know, showing a little bit on the tote bags. This is just how I like to do them. You guys can do them however you want. So, going all the way around, just pin this down. All right, so now I'm just gonna do a top stitch all the way around, and this will be done. And this has our pocket on the inside there. And I wanted to say, these headphones are probably the best $20 I've ever spent on Amazon. They're perfect. They're noise canceling, and I used to use my AirPods while I was sewing, but they were, I get like, I don't know if they call it ear fatigue, but they really hurt my ears. So I got these, they're over the ears, and it really drowns out the noise. And my sewing machine, which eventually I'd like to get a different one, it's okay, it does the job, but I'd like to get something a little bit nicer in the future. But this thing makes some clunky noises, and half the time I don't want to listen to it. So I'm so thankful for these headphones, and I just wanted to let you guys know, if you're looking for a pair, these are, I think when I got them, they were $20 or $25, and they're amazing. They are in my Amazon storefront. Yeah, my sewing machine, she's been through it. She's probably like 5 or 6 years old at this point. But like she makes some clunky noises. And I clean it all the time. I oil her all the time. I get her serviced when she needs it yearly. And yeah, she does a lot for me. She's overworked and underpaid. But I just wanted to tell you guys about my headphones because they truly, truly are the best $25 I've ever spent. So we're going to do the top stitch around the tote bag and we will be finished. And I'll show you guys the results when we're done. All right, guys, it is all finished here with the pocket on the inside there. And I just love it. I think it is the perfect size and the straps are long enough. I have a weird thing. I want to be able to pick up my bag and put it through just like that. I don't want to use like I don't know how to like go. I don't want to go like this. I want to be able to do it one-handed like this, be able to put it on my shoulder. But I think it's the perfect size. And then you've got, you know, your pocket in there for whatever you need, your phone, chapstick, anything you need. Yeah, she's all finished. And I hope you guys enjoy this tutorial and I hope you guys make them. If you do, tag me in all of your creations because I want to see what you guys make. And again, this can be customized to however you like. If you don't like this size, you want it to be a little taller, add a couple inches. If you don't want it to be as wide, you can shorten it. If the bottom is like too boxed out for you, you know, go down to 2 inches or 2.5 inches instead of 3. But yeah, this is my little mini shoulder tote and I think she's cute. So thank you guys for sticking with me in this tutorial and so don't forget to subscribe before you leave and I will see you guys next Saturday. Bye.